Why CIA is hiding so much about UFOs? And if you didn't watch the part 1 of the CIA's Secrets of UFOs, then please watch it. I will drop the link to it in the description. So let's continue the document of the CIA's role in UFOs. A massive buildup of sightings over the United States in 1952, especially in July, alarmed the Truman administration. On the 19th and the 20th of July, radar scopes at Washington National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base tracked mysterious blips. On July 27th. Let me go deep in it. In 1952, the U.S. had so many reports of UFOs. Especially in July, from July 19th to 20th, but let's just take the whole month, because in July they had over 615 in alone one month. That's so crazy. And the sightings were also called as Washington Flap. The 1952 UFO flap was an unprecedented rash of media attention to unidentified flying object reports during the summer of 1952. And they also received over 717 new reports. Project Blue Book director Edward J. Ruppelt later recalled, during a 6-month period in 1952, 148 of the nation's leading newspapers carried a total of over 16,000 items about flying saucers. On May 12, an explosion in Seattle led to public speculation of a flying saucer. On April 3, the Associated Press reported on an upcoming story in Life magazine that would reveal the Air Force was taking a serious interest in flying saucers. The June edition of Look magazine featured a story where astrophysicist Donald Howard Menzel proposed flying saucers were optical mirages created by temperature inversions. American papers covered similar statements from French astronomer Ernest Esclangon, who debunked the flying saucer reports by explaining they could not be supersonic craft because no sonic booms were reported. On April 7, Life magazine, featuring Marilyn Monroe on its cover, published the flying saucer article under the title, "Have We Visitors from Space?" It became the most reputable outlet to seriously consider the possibility that flying saucer reports might be caused by extraterrestrial spaceships. In his book, Ruppelt argued if you can pin down a date that the big flap started, it would probably be about June 1. That day, a UFO report was filed by Hughes Aircraft Company in Los Angeles. On July 1, 2 F-94s scrambled to intercept a UFO over Boston. On July 14, the Nash Fortenberry UFO sighting was reported over Chesapeake Bay, when 2 commercial pilots, William B. Nash and William H. Fortenberry, claimed to have seen 8 UFOs flying in a tight echelon formation. Now let's get to the 2 Saturday nights of July 19 and 20. At 11:40 p.m. on Saturday, July 19, 1952, Edward Nugent, an air traffic controller at Washington National Airport, spotted 7 objects on his radar. The objects were located 15 miles south-southwest of the city. No known aircraft were in the area, and the objects were not following any established flight paths. Nugent's superior, Harry Barnes, a senior air traffic controller at the airport, watched the objects on Nugent's radar scope. He later wrote, "We knew immediately that a very strange situation existed. Their movements were completely radical compared to those of ordinary aircraft." Barnes had 2 controllers check Nugent's radar. They found that it was working normally. Barnes then called National Airport's radar-equipped control tower, the controllers there, Howard Coughlin and Joe Zacco. And Zacco said that they also had unidentified blips on their radar screen, and saw a hovering bright light in the sky, which departed with incredible speed. Coughlin asked Zacco, "Did you see that? What the hell was that?" At this point, other objects appeared in all sectors of the radar scope. When they moved over the White House and the United States Capitol, Barnes called Andrews Air Force Base, located 10 miles from National Airport. Although Andrews reported that they had no unusual objects on their radar, An airman soon called the base's control tower to report the sighting of a strange object. Airman William Brady, who was in the tower, then saw an object which appeared to be like an orange ball of fire, trailing a tail. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before. As Brady tried to alert the other personnel in the tower, the strange object took off at an unbelievable speed. On one of National Airport's runways, S.C. Pierman, a Capital Airlines pilot, was waiting in the cockpit of his DC-4 for permission to take off. After spotting what he believed to be a meteor, he was told that the control tower's radar had detected unknown objects closing in on his position. Pierman observed 6 objects, white, tailless, fast-moving lights, over a 14-minute period. Pierman was in radio contact with Barnes during his sighting, and Barnes later related that each sighting coincided with a pip we could see near his plane. When he reported that the light streaked off at a high speed, it disappeared from our scope. So it's too long, so I will put a link to it for you guys to read. So I will fast forward. So at 3 a.m. shortly before 2 United States Air Force F-94 Starfire jet fighters from Newcastle Air Force Base in Delaware arrived over Washington, all of the objects vanished from the radar at National Airport. However, when the jets ran low on fuel and left, the objects returned, which convinced Barnes that the UFOs were monitoring radio traffic and behaving accordingly. The objects were last detected by radar at 5:30 a.m. And they tried to investigate it, but they found nothing. However, caused headlines across the country. The White House wanted to know what was happening, and the Air Force quickly offered the explanation that the radar blips might be the result of temperature inversions. Later, a Civil Aeronautics Administration investigation confirmed that such radar blips were quite common and were caused by temperature inversions. Although it had monitored UFO reports for at least 3 years, CIA reacted to the new rash of sightings by forming a special study group within the Office of Scientific Intelligence and the Office of Current Intelligence to review the situation. Guys, I like to go deep, so I took a dive into the Washington DC UFO sightings in the year 1952 because it was mentioned in the CIA's role in UFO documents. Okay, let's stop here. I will catch you guys next Sunday. Till then, stay curious and explore what is unknown or mysterious. If this blown your mind, then hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell.